Hi, Mark here from the Tangibound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangibound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangibound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangiboundNetwork.com and see if Tangibound Network is right for you.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast from Temperance Town, the sexiest podcast of world renowned. Tony grows a beard to hide his chin, swabs it with Earl so it glistens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
Download the pod, you won't get enough of these dapper chaps talking deadly fluff. In Hobo Gulch they run a homeless mission, clanging and banging with the pentagram of kittens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
They enjoy their whiskey and local craft beer. By Odin's unkempt pubis we give a cheer. Tony's a raccoon when he's booziest. Don't be a savage, be an enthusiast.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
On the frozen tundra they call it a lock. Tony likes to masturbate in a sock. Brian pisses rocks cause it feels so great. I still don't know who the fuck is Tate.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
The boys will let you know when there's a spurner. Due to male pattern baldness, they don't wear curlers. Stay salty, people, that's their closing line. And don't forget, have a beer, you'll be fine.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty language.
Hey enthusiasts, what's happening? This is Salty Language, episode 383.
Sexiest podcast on the network. Tony here.
This is Brian. You going into like a little Dean Martin there or something?
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
Yeah,
once again, me with the timely references for the kids, you know.
fuck yeah, the kids love it. Love it.
They love Dean Martin.
Oh.
I know. Who doesn't?
Exactly, right?
Right.
Wait till I start dropping Desi Arnaz references.
That would be more obscure. Because, you know, I mean, you know, Desi's kind of a, you know, more limited scope than Dean Martin was.
True.
You know. But anyway, yeah.
Anywho.
Right? People looking at their players right now, you know, like, is this salty language? Why are they talking about Dean Martin? Because we like the Rat Pack, that's why.
Why aren't we talking about Dean Martin?
That's right.
That's what you should be asking every week.
That's right. You know, I won't lie. You know, one of the few Christmas albums I actually own is a Rat Pack Christmas. So
there you go.
Yep.
I tried very hard, Brian, to find a copy of the Muppets Jim Beam. Jesus Christ.
That'd be an interesting episode.
record.
Yes.
Because I've decided I'm buying a record player.
Okay.
Because I miss buying music.
Right.
You know, and like last week, I think it was last week. I don't know. It's been a while since I recorded. I popped over in the Culture Clash just to kind of look around because I've never been in there, and it's right next to Rockies, you know.
Yep.
And I was just like, then I started like flipping through crates and stuff, and I was having flashbacks when you and I used to CD hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like put a little fire in my chest.
Right.
I was like, man, I think I'm going to get back into buying music, not like we used to do.
Right.
Not like, you know, hundreds of CDs.
Right. Well, it's also a little harder, I imagine, because records cost more than, you know, a lot of those CDs we were buying were like $5, you know?
Well, they had dollar bins, and I was flipping through them, and I was like, man, some of these records I want to listen to just based off the artwork.
Right. Oh, I bet. Just because they're $1. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There's your new podcast, Tony. Dollar Bin Record Review.
Oh, that was amazing. That's a great idea.
Too bad you couldn't play the music on the podcast, though, you know? I mean,
Right.
maybe you could. Maybe if you were like, hey, I'll give you $1 if we can play your song, they'd be like, cool, $1.
Well, I think there's some sort of weirdness you can get around it if you're like talking over it when it's in the background, because it's kind of like, I think there's some bizarro type rule you can get, as long as they're not like, yeah, coming up next, and then you just spin the track, you
Right.
know. But yeah, I think I've been looking at record players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I already have like little speakers and a little sub that I can hook to it, and
Right.
I'm like, I kind of got the itch to buy music again, man.
Yeah.
Not just like stream it, you know.
Right. There's a record
Sit
player
around
in
and
my
have
house. I just haven't bothered to buy any records.
Oh, what the fuck's wrong with you, mate? I mean, I have records.
Yeah.
I do. I have like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I used to have a ton of them before I moved, and
Yeah.
but they were all up in the attic of our old house, and I'm like, with all the heat going on, I'm like, there's no way they're good.
What are you talking about?
I
Vinyl and heat go
probably
together.
should've- Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, it was like the stuff I had as a kid growing up,
Mm.
and one of them was John Denver and the Muppets Christmas.
Yeah.
That is like saved on my Spotify.
Right. I actually think it might be in my iTunes.
Yeah, so it's like I was flipping through all their Christmas records. I was like, dude, if I don't even have a record player, but if they have his record, I'm fucking buying it.
Yeah.
Just because of nostalgia, they did not.
That doesn't surprise me because it's a
For
pretty,
feelings.
yeah, a lot of people have nostalgia for that. So
Yeah.
it wouldn't shock me if that's, I don't want to say not easy, but, you know, maybe it's not as cheap or something. I don't know. I don't know anything about record prices. So.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously I'll update you when I'm sitting around with my robe on, smoking a pipe and
course.
listening to some vinyl.
Right. Yep.
Like, this one's a real toe tapper, Brian.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They had that. I saw 36 Chambers.
That's basically the only time I pay attention to records really is around record store day or something like that, where
Right.
there's just these limited edition versions of albums put out. And, you know, like sometimes they'll put out like, you know, a red album instead of the normal black, or, you know, they'll just do different release stuff. And there's been some of them in the past that I've almost been tempted to get just because I'll be like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to just own, you know?
Right.
And some of that stuff goes for crazy money too.
I believe it.
Because a lot of them are super limited.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, that's my new my adventures of getting back into listening to like music and hunting stuff down.
I like it. Next up, A-Track.
Love-
No.
Dude, I'm telling you, flipping through those bins and looking at stuff, I was seriously having flashbacks of you and I going around Toledo and hitting all the UCD stores and shit.
Yeah, I miss that too. I have for a
It
long
was some
time.
good memories.
Because you almost can't even do that now because most of the stores are like vastly shrinking their like CD section, you know, because everything's
Right.
streaming. Like, why bother buying albums? You can stream everything, you know? So, it's so nuts to me. That's why I said
isn't it?
it's so crazy to me how, you know, like when we did that question of the week that was the, you know, what's your favorite album or whatever, you know, when Ashley posed that to me, it's like, well, people may not have that anymore because you know, the presentation's different. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They make their own playlist. When's the last time you threw out an album listened with front and back?
Actually, the other day I listened to Ride the Lightning, but
Oh well, that's cool.
yeah, I'm wearing a Master of Puppets shirt, but I listened to Ride the Lightning the other day.
I like the only time I really do that anymore with albums is if I'm just in the mood, like I'm going to listen to I don't know, Mr. Wonderful front to back because why not?
Right.
But usually like live albums I will.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, because it's like I'm there, man.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah.
I know. It is the one thing about music that I really miss now is like the closest I've found is like, you know, when you go on Spotify and there's like the release radar, you know, one where it's supposed to play stuff similar to your likes, but it's kind of wonky sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's super wonky.
Sometimes it's on point. You know, the last time I looked, I can't remember what was on there, but it was a bunch of stuff that I was like, okay, you know, like these are groups I'm interested in or something similar, you know?
Right.
But, yeah, that's about it. And it's just not the same, you know?
No, not really, right?
Yeah, it's similar to like buying back issues of comic books digitally versus thumbing through a quarter bin or whatever, you know, or just the back issue boxes, you know? Because it was so cool back in the day, you know, when you're, going through them and you're like, oh shit, they have this, you know, and grabbing whatever issue is underpriced, you know?
Right.
Or whatever you need for your collection, you know?
Well, it's like I kind of decided once I start buying records, I'm only going to buy stuff that I will want to listen to front to back initially, because records aren't cheap.
Right.
Or unless there's like stupid sales going on, then I might just like pick up stuff on a whim.
You're just buying everything.
Well, you know how I get sometimes.
Tony, why do you have ABBA's greatest hits?
Like, fuck you. That's why.
Mind your own business. Sorry.
They had some good tunes.
It was cheap, okay? Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kinda
should
looking
be.
forward to this.
Well, it's cool, too. Culture Class is pretty cool place anyway.
Yeah,
So.
it is a cool... And, well, that's the other problem is I can exit Culture Clash, walk 10 feet to the left, and walk on the Rocky smoking patio and right to the bar.
Yeah.
That might be a problem.
Or you could go from
actually,
a
the
massage.
problem would be from Rockies to Culture Clash.
You're right, because, you know, your wallet might get loose.
Go buy some music.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Next thing you know, you're like, hey, Brian, I own Culture Clash.
What?
Like, huh?
Suddenly it becomes high fidelity.
Yeah. Sweet.
Right? But yeah, so there's that.
Cool.
And the only thing I wish I still had was my dad's old stereo equipment.
Yeah.
Because I used to have that big receiver and like 18 speakers and shit. And I moved that shit around with me for a couple times. And I'm like, I don't need any of this stuff anymore.
Right.
And now in hindsight, I'm like, oh,
why'd I get rid of
so
that?
nice to have it.
Yeah.
Because that stereo system we had, that fucker got loud.
Yeah.
And it sounded good when it was loud.
Time to start hitting some garage sales when the weather gets warm.
I was looking at Craigslist and stuff just out of curiosity. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's other people like you that were like, I just want to get rid of this damn thing.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it. Because I'm like, I don't need this shit anymore. Because it's digital. Silly me.
Yeah.
What a dumbass I am.
Yep. I'm tired of all this clean music. I want some dirty music.
Goddamn right.
I want those hisses and pops and other things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Hear the faint sounds of traffic in the background.
No, that's our podcast.
Oh, yeah. Fury Road. What?
Well, sweet. You know, you do that. We'll have to see if we can, get something of ours, like, get a good press of our show done.
That'd be cool.
The whole catalog, of course.
The whole catalog.
Yeah. And sell it as one box set.
Mm-hmm. Shows up in like a refrigerator box.
Right.
You're like, what the fuck? It's just a filing cabinet shows up.
Yeah.
Each drawer is full.
Right. It's like, it's my Salty Language box set.
Huh.
No, it's just one of those like pods. You know, they just drop it out in front of your house.
Drops in front of it. Are you moving? No, it's actually my box set. What?
Salty language? How'd you know?
I got one too.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Yeah. You know, it's weird, though, you mentioned having flashbacks, because I actually had a moment this week where I also had flashbacks to, you know, days gone by. Because, well, first of all, I jumped on the Gotham Lights podcast with our pal Heno and Stephanie.
Nice.
Which was nice because, you know, that they've been doing that show a while, and that's the first time I've been on it because, you know, it's no secret I'm not a Gotham fan, so, you know, and I haven't watched Orville yet, so there's really been no reason to bring me on aside from just, you know, the sexual tension.
Well, yeah, exactly. The electricity you provide.
Right.
Yeah.
But Heno told me on the Crazy Life the other night they were going to be talking about voice actors who've voiced Batman in cartoons and games. And I was like, how you not going to have me on, or how'd you not have me on there? And then he was like, oh, we haven't recorded it yet.
You're goddamn right, yeah.
So I ended up, you know, inviting myself on, and
best way to get on a podcast.
Yeah, but it was really fun because some of the voices and stuff in there were from stories like Batman Black and White, the Vampire Batman story. I don't know if you ever read those or not. I'm sure you remember it at least.
Yeah.
You know, there was stuff like that. So I was also telling them, like, hey, this was a comic book first, you know, kind of a thing. Like, you know, it like Batman Black and White was awesome. I love that series. And
it was great.
Right? So the throwback part of it is I'm sitting there and I'm talking the funny books, you know, talking the comics.
Shop.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man, I miss this. You know? And I was saying, I forgot, it was Heno or somebody I was telling, I was like, yeah, but then I jumped on Reddit later because I'm like, maybe I'll jump in the comics forum and have some chats. And I just was like, now I remember why I hate these conversations.
Like, oh yeah, fuck these people.
Yeah, the geeks giveth and they taketh away.
Boy, do they.
So, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but there was some dumb
sure
stuff.
It was enough.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like, whatever, you know, because you know me, I never got into the who's, you know, who could win, Hulk or Thor or Superman versus Thor, you know, none of that kind of garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but it is fun talking about stories that, you know, you really dug, you know, like Batman ones and stuff, you know.
Right.
The other cool part, well, first of all, you know, go check out that episode if you're interested. It's called Gotham Lights. And I learned something on the episode as well about Batman Black and White, which was that they actually did motion comic webisodes of a bunch of the stories from that.
Which is pretty awesome.
And I was like, well, I have to watch these because Batman. And so I powered through them because they're only a few minutes long each. And there's 20 episodes, I think it is. So I just blew through all of them. And it was a really, really fun watch for me because I remember reading the stories and now they're kind of coming, you know, popping off the page. Because literally the art is the same art, you know. So yeah, that was pretty fun to have a look-see at.
Right. To take you back in time a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, if I could jump back.
Now,
like that.
There will not be a link in the show notes for that. You will have to find those on your own. The Batman Black and White.
Happy hunting, you sons of bitches.
Yeah. I read something that said they used to be available on Warner Brothers website somewhere, but I didn't find them. I also didn't look that hard. So
Accurate.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. I'm a lazy man.
It happens, man. It happens.
Yep. So yeah, that was a good time though, and I guess, you know, according to Heno, there's going to be a Joker one also, which hopefully I get to be part of, or I'll be hurt.
Just invite yourself back on.
You're right. That's what I'll do.
Indeed.
I'll just find out what day they're recording it and just call in on Skype.
Yeah, just sit there and wait.
What's up?
Watch the little dots turn green. Just do it every week,
Right?
Until you get the right episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey guys, you talking Joker? Nope, Brian, we're not. Okay, see ya.
Yeah. Each time. 6 months later.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Jesus, yes, we are. Whatever. We weren't, but we are.
Will it shut you up?
Son of a bitch.
Jesus, yeah. I'm excited about that, though, too, because, you know me, and well enough, I'm very passionate about the voices of, like, who voices Batman and the Joker, because those two completely either immerse me into the story or take me out really fast, you know?
Why did you say that name?
You know, one of the, I won't tell any more, but I will spurl this one, which was from the animated Superman Red Sun, which is an awesome story, you know,
Yes.
good fun read. But the guy doing the Batman voice is so terrible. His Russian accent is so terrible.
Oh boy.
It's so bad. So,
Just like a stereotypical someone's trying to do a Russian accent.
it's so bad. Yeah. And Henno has clips of all the different voices we talked about on the episode also. So, like I said,
nice.
if people go listen to that, it's only about, I think it's about an hour. We talked, maybe an hour and a half, something like that. But it was good fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Good, clean fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I always enjoy guesting on podcasts randomly.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
Hint, hint.
I just never get asked.
I know.
I just
Well,
have to
it's good.
invite myself on, I guess.
Well, it's because they're worried we're going to, completely fry all their systems with the sheer amount of electricity and magnetism.
Yes, you're right. That must be it.
I mean, it's got to be.
Sure.
What else could it be, Brian?
Well, I imagine sometimes maybe you didn't get invited back because they heard you on Shot of History.
Could be. They got to remember, I'm multiple shots and so many beers in.
Well, they just assume that'll be you anytime, though.
Ooh, so hammered on that show.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Good fun.
As far as I remember.
Oh, you were. I heard it. I wasn't there, but I heard it. As soon as I heard you talk, I was like, "Ooh, he's hammered." Well, I've been around you enough.
Animal noises.
Yeah, I was like, I've been around you enough when you're drunk, So
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah,
Oh, fair enough.
fair enough. So, how was your week, sir?
It was an alright week.
Yeah.
Did you do any of that Black Friday situation?
Yeah, I did a little bit. I didn't do much. I think I talked. No, I didn't. I don't know. Whatever. But I picked up GTA 5 for
Nice.
like $20 for the PS4, and it was the one that comes with like extra stuff. Like, I think I told you this, didn't I? Like, you start with a place to live and some other stuff.
You might have.
I think it's got like a car and something. Like, you start off with bonus stuff, and it was the same price as the regular edition. So why wouldn't I get that one?
You?
Yeah.
Why not get the bonus shit?
Mm-hmm. And I grabbed Fire Pro Wrestling. That I know I told you about, because I actually got that, I think, before Black Friday or whatever. I don't remember. The Black Friday sale started like Wednesday. So
Yeah, it was so weird.
it was so odd, yeah.
I missed out on all my Black Friday stuff I wanted to do because I was like, dude, I'm getting PlayStation. No, did not.
From what I'm told, they went real fast.
Yeah, because
the guy at GameStop told me they had 45 of them, and he said it took, I don't remember what he said, Wednesday night they sold 39 of them because they had to have 6.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, it's a $200, for a system and a game. It's
Yeah,
it's
I know. It's a hell of a
price.
deal.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of hoping that Kemosabe jump on it. But
And I didn't know that was only supposed to be a Black Friday bundle, basically.
Right.
Like, Wednesday through Friday, because as we've talked in the past, and it pisses me off how they, Black Friday starts today, and it's like, it's Wednesday. Call it a Wednesday.
Yeah, exactly. Call it like Getting Dark Wednesday. Something stupid.
Right. Pre-fat ass Wednesday.
Dude, if I was a music store, I would start my Black Friday on Thursday, and I'd call it Fade to Black Friday.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
I like it. See, that's what I'm talking about right
That's
there.
my bi-culture clash.
Yep. Dude, that's just going to be every Friday. You just run a cool sale every Friday.
Right?
Just something's highlighted until basically you run out, kind of a gimmick,
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Yeah, I didn't...
Actually, that wouldn't be terrible. Like every third Friday of the month is Black Friday here at blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. I imagine to some extent, well, not to some extent, to a lot of the same extent, owning a record place has got to be similar to owning a comic shop.
I would assume.
All that stuff that's just sitting there is just money.
Yeah.
Just
morons
waiting.
that come in and flip through the boxes and go, this is cool, and then they leave.
Yeah. All they do is go through the dollar bin and the Christmas stuff,
Yep, exactly. pet the dog and leave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot they have a dog in there. Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah, I didn't do much else for that, though. I was saying about the PS4s. The guy who works the electronics department over here at Target said they had 50 of them, and they were out on Wednesday night.
That's insane.
Yeah. Meanwhile, friend of the show, Cheeto Bandito, sent an email and said he basically sauntered into Target, got one, and walked right back out.
Didn't even pay for it.
No, not at all. We call that the salty language discount.
Exactly, right?
This is mine now, and you just leave.
Yeah. Coupon code, salty.
Yep. It's just you write salty on your middle finger. You do like that gif where it's like right in their face,
Exactly, right? Oh, man.
So,
yeah, I
guess,
didn't do any Black Friday-ing, but I did some Cyber Monday-ing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I got a plethora of Echo Dots.
Oh,
they
really?
were dirt-ass cheap.
Oh, yeah.
So I had 2 of them showed up. I'm waiting for 2 more because I was like, I'm going to get one for each kid.
Mm-hmm.
One for my room, and one for the kitchen.
Right.
None
for the bathroom?
None for the bathroom.
All right.
Alex doesn't need to know if things go on there.
All right, fair enough.
But I mean, like, the one I got for my room is honestly just pure lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, where the bed is and where the lights are, if I want to, like, read,
Yeah.
I have to get up and turn the lights off.
Mm-hmm. Fuck that.
With a dot and a smart plug, I just go, bitch, turn them lights
Right.
off.
I was going to say, what is this, 1902? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. So, I mean, what do I got to do? Get my little hat and a candle holder and walk over there?
Make sure you
ridiculous.
have your house coat and slippers on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, I'm shivering nude across my carpet.
Right. Forget that
To
noise.
shut off lights.
Yeah. It just reminds me of how I used to use the remote for my one stereo when I was sitting right next to it.
Yeah, I remember that.
So lazy. Or my favorite was actually when I used to use a dowel rod to change the channels on my TV because I didn't have a remote for it, but I had
That
a
was the remote.
yeah, because I had a dowel rod that I got.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I got pretty good with after a while. Yeah,
Like became like a pro fencer.
yeah, pretty ridiculous.
But so yeah, those were dirt cheap, and I wanted to get them because I was like, I'm gonna start getting some smart plugs and stuff. That'd be cool to kind of automate some things around the house.
Yeah.
But they have this feature called drop-in,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, say if I had one here, I could be like, hey, I'm not gonna say the name because people might have devices around them go off,
Alexa.
But I'm like, hey, exactly. I'm like, hey, twat face.
Yeah.
Drop in on Leah's dot,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll just go bloop, and I can like 2-way talk through it. Then
Oh, that's terrifying.
it's great because my son is terrible about answering anything.
Okay.
So now if I'm in the kitchen, I'll be like, that motherfucker needs to get down here and like set the table. I just be like, hey, get right into his room. I love it.
That could be a lot of fun in the morning too.
Oh, God. So she'd be like,
yeah, I was just thinking you just yell "wake up" or something, but that's way better.
yeah.
Just pump in some Jurassic Park sounds and
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was having fun with Belle because they could just be like, "Hey, play some dogs barking." And just was like, "Woo, woo, woo, woo." And she's like, "What?" Like fucking confused. Like, who's my friend calling?
And then you had to order another one because she ate the dot.
But, yeah, I got some of the dots, and then I bought from a place that I typically never ever spend money at, Brian, because the deal was too good to pass up.
Oh boy, Taco Bell gift certificates.
You know it. I'm like, I need to blow this colon out hard.
That'll do it. That'll do it. Mm-hmm.
No, I bought an Instant Pot.
Oh, right,
from Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
Because online it was so cheap.
I almost got one. So
yeah, and I was just like, and it's something I've been kind of like kicking around getting.
Mm-hmm.
And with the prospect of me, working somewhere else or having longer hours now in the future, I'm like, I might need to get something that can make meals quicker or have the kids be able to do it. And because whatever. So I was like, fuck it. And I went and picked that mug up today.
Mm-hmm.
God, that place is full of savages.
Oh, right. I know.
Like, I was just trying to kill some time tonight. So I'm like, well, I'll just saunter around here and just look at stuff while I'm killing time. And after the third person absentmindedly ran into me because they're not paying attention to anything around them, I'm like, I got to get the fuck out of the store.
See, that's what I'm talking about. When I go in those places, it drives me crazy.
Yeah, seriously. No one just like, not even looking like.
And it's not just because we're getting closer to Christmas. Like, it's like that all the time.
I was like, honestly, I don't know, I guess. But,
yeah.
I mean, I was just like, really? And then, like, they look at you like, why'd you step into my cart?
Yeah. Right?
Like, I don't know. I was standing here.
Yeah. Why'd you shoot that guy?
Looking at this shelf,
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then what made me laugh, though, is I go in the back and I get the thing, and they're like, oh, hey, that orange sticker on the box, it means it's already paid for. I went, oh, okay. And I walked right out. No one checked anything. I just walked out with a box in my hand.
Pretty awesome.
So,
well, that was something I was I was confused about a little bit. Because, I told you I had bought an Instant Pot, and then I realized it wasn't. It's actually just a slow cooker. Because they make those also, which I didn't know. So we took it back, and Walmart has a policy of like you can bring something back no receipt within 90 days, which is nuts.
It is kind of nuts because that sounds like. I mean, I listened to enough of the Church of What's Happening Now. Good old Joey Diaz, former coke addict.
Yeah,
and he would talk about all the time how he would just go into a store and just shift off the shelf and then just take it right up to the counter.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, hey, I'm returning this.
Well, that's what I was telling my mom because we're walking around. Like, we walk in, they give me a little sticker or something that basically signifies that we brought it in,
Yeah.
But I could just as easily not have that. They didn't ask for it. Like, when we got up to customer service, I was like, do you need this? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, is there anything wrong with it? I'm like, no, I'm just a dummy, and I read the box wrong, and, and she's like, okay, do you want money back on your card, or do you want a gift certificate? I'm like, well, we're going to probably get some stuff, so gift certificate's fine. And that's it. Boom. So, and I was like, I told my mom, I was like, I could probably just go grab one off the shelf and walk right back up here and get the money for it.
Like, oh, hey, I got the wrong one. Like, weren't you just here? No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well... You want a gift certificate? Or?
But you know what I mean? It's like, I was just like, huh. Although, the way that they found it, which works some of the time, was she was like, do you have the card you used when you bought it? Which I did. So I was like, yeah, here. Well, they swipe it, and in their computer, they can find the transaction, basically.
Right.
But what if you paid cash?
Yeah, right.
Like, you can't trace that.
Yeah.
I mean, unless unless they have a way in the computer to like go back to that date and look. But can you imagine Walmart trying to sift through?
Oh my God,
You know,
thousands and thousands of transactions.
I mean, I'm sure there's a search option of some sort, but it seems really impractical. Like, it just doesn't seem like something they would use.
It could be one of those things that they're just like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it very well could be. Could be like hey, this doesn't happen.
Business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't happen enough that it hurts us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah. Because a lot of places won't even take stuff back without a receipt now, you know, which honestly, I've never understood why they do. You know?
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, I know you have issues with, you know, when someone gets a gift sometimes, but ever since they came out with the gift receipt concept, I don't know why they would allow that. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad they did, because otherwise, I mean, it was a nice slow cooker, but we've already got 4 in the house.
Yeah, it's not something you really need.
Yeah, and I have another one over in my storage, you know, so we're good on slow cookers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Slow cooker quota met.
Met and exceeded, yeah. In fact, we may have to cut some or send them to the practice squad, you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah. Get anything else on Cyber Mondays?
I got some sweet underwear.
Nice.
At least not yet, but I mean, they're en route.
Right.
And I really feel like I bought some more shit, but... Hi, Logan. That's the noise I heard. He just got home from work. I don't know, I bought some chopsticks. I just bought some, like knickknacks off of Amazon because, you know, stuff was on sale everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I told you I picked up a 2 terabyte hard drive for like 40 or 40. I think it was 45 actually, but still, that was, you know, like 20 or 30 bucks off. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one of those for the PlayStation because I think to put another game on the other day, I had to delete 2 games, you know, so I'm like, this sucks because I don't have the fastest internet and I have a small data cap. So I don't really want to have to be re-downloading my stuff, you know. What I need to do is just take it to someone's house who has like unlimited and faster internet, download it, and then come home.
Yeah, or like, you know, like just go set up at a Starbucks.
That'd be hilarious.
Like, what are you doing, sir? Enjoying this Cool Lime refresher?
Right? They don't have those anymore.
Oh.
Jerks got rid of them.
Hot chocolate. I don't know. What do you drink then at Starbucks if you go to Starbucks?
They have some berry refresher that I got last time. That was pretty good.
Sounds like horseshit.
Yeah. Well, it was weird. I think I told you about it because they gave me the option of, she was like, do you want us to use water or lemonade, like for the base?
Okay, Logan. I'm sorry. What was that? Brian, my son was informing me of his plans for the evening. For some reason.
She asked me if I wanted water or lemonade for the base, and I was like, well, lemonade, because delicious, until I drank it, and I was like, oh my god, the sugar, the beatus.
Pancreas, overdrive.
Oh man, it was so sweet. It tasted good, but it was just so much sugar. I ended up bringing it home and cutting it with water multiple times.
Holy hell.
Yeah, so...
Your body took a nice roundhouse.
Yeah.
There, huh?
Which, you know, I guess the other way to look at that is that's almost like buying, say, 4 drinks instead of 1. Because,
true.
You know, in order to be able to drink it.
Oh.
Man. Yeah. I saw my pancreas jump out of my body, put its hat on, and take its bindle and go.
Exactly. Back up its suitcase. I'm out of here, prick.
It's like, fuck you.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. That's what I thought, too.
Oh, man. Also today, after I experienced the finest of stores in the area, I was still like, you know, I was like, man, I was waiting for a phone call, basically, to stop my time killing. I was still dying. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just head over to Frickers, get a couple cheap beers because it's happy hour, and maybe some fries, and just hang out and wait until, you know, I get this call I'm waiting on. And for sure got carded.
Really?
Yeah, and I've been to that Frickers decent amount of times.
Yeah.
They don't. It's not one of those places that asks everybody.
Right.
And she's like, I'm like, because, you know, like I said, I was just like, I'm just going to drink cheap. So I'm like, Coors Light.
Right.
Just give me a bottle of Coors Light. And she's like, okay, can I see your ID? I'm looking at her. I'm like, for sure, I'm like 15 years older than you are.
Right.
But okay.
Yeah.
You know? Here it is. There's Grandpa handing over his ID.
Like, girl, if you want my info, just ask. You don't have to look at my ID.
Shit. It kind of threw me off. And I'm like, I've got like my Under Armour hoodie on. I had an Under Armour beanie on. I'm like, but I know I also have this salt and pepper beard. I'm not a fresh-faced. I'm not a fresh-faced lad.
Right. You're not a fresh-faced lad either. I mean,
fresh.
Let's clear that up right now. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Just kind of melting my brain a little bit.
I know. Every once in a while, I'll get carded, and I have the same thought. It's like, there's no way I look under 21.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
So I just keep it in my head that a lot of bars have that, like, if you look under 40, we ID or something like that. So,
like the best one I got was, it was probably about a month ago, and I was buying a 6-pack of beer from Myers or something. And I was at the U-Scan it.
Yeah.
And the woman came over. She's like, "Can I see your ID?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And I handed it over, and she's like, "Wow, you look really good for your age." I was like, "Oh, well, thanks."
Damn.
Like, I appreciate that.
Damn, son. Yeah.
She's like, "I would have never guessed you're almost 40. I'm like, "Oh,
I remember buying booze there one time, and the attendant just walked over, didn't ask for my ID, and just typed in.
You put in like a random date.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had that. See, I've had that happen too, and they don't even ask. Right?
Yeah,
whatever.
It's like, clearly this dude's old.
Like, oh,
yeah. This guy probably remembers pull tab beer cans.
Exactly right. Jeez, I can't believe we got punched in the date for the greatest generation here.
Yeah, well, at least it's easy. 2.
So, yeah. I don't know. It was just weird.
Yeah.
Odd feeling. But, I mean, once again, too, though, because, on Saturday, I told T, I'm like, we're not doing the thing at the house anymore. I'm like, I got to go feed some cats. You want to just meet me at Fricker's? We'll have a couple pints. And, all right. And I got a Great Lakes Christmas, like a tall one. It was like $6.50.
Yeah.
So for my happy hour, I had 2 Coors Light and some curly fries, and it was like $7 and change.
Right.
Like, God damn it. And as much as I appreciate good craft beer, sometimes having the cheaper stuff is kind of nice.
Yeah, I know, right?
That price point,
Yep, exactly. Yeah, because most places don't have much of a happy hour on the craft beers, so.
No, not usually.
Yeah.
Might be like $1 off draft, and you're still paying, $5.
$5, yeah. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. I think I was paying like $1.75 or something crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah.
Well, really quick, speaking of beers, I have something that I saw yesterday that just cracked me up.
Enlighten me.
Did you see that Miller High Life for the Christmas season is putting out a champagne bottle of Miller High Life?
I did not. That's amazing.
Because, the champagne of beers.
The champagne of beers.
So, I saw that yesterday and I just cracked up. Oh, man. I mean, I guess, stay on brand.
Stay on brand is right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we need to get the most, like, redneck of, like a Rambo knife and saber it open.
That would be awesome. No, we got to, right? If you want to go redneck, what we're going to do is take the blade off the lawnmower.
Yes. Some people call it a Casa blade. I call it a sling blade.
And it'll be here, you hold the bottle.
Yeah, I'll hold my beer moment.
Yeah, meanwhile, someone, of course, has their phone out to record it because
for sure.
Someone's about to lose an arm.
I mean, so someone's holding the champagne bottle. One of his friends is pouring gasoline on his pants.
Probably.
And about ready to light him on fire.
Mm-hmm.
As the other guy has the lawnmower blade and is baseball swinging it.
Exactly.
This is how you go viral.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him do this in Hobo with a shotgun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, man.
that always amazes me when you watch some of those videos online, and it's just people like fucking around with flammable chemicals.
Yeah.
And then lighting it on fire. It's like, what
did you expect to happen?
What exactly? What did you expect, man?
Yeah.
Like, the only time that's recently happened to me, I was like, whoa, was I was trying to burn some shit, and it was a little damp, and I'm like, you know what? There's for sure, like camping lantern fuel.
Mm-hmm.
I have a can of it in my garage. I'm like, well, obviously this stuff's flammable.
Mm-hmm.
So I doused a little bit on there. That stuff's very flammable. Like, I lit the match and tossed it, and it was nowhere near. Like, it just left my hand. And the fumes. It was like,
oh my. Wow.
I was like, oh, well, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, that seems like a bad idea. Yeah, have the boy do it next time. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've definitely used some accelerants to get a fire going before, and that was the most flammable shit I've ever fucked around with.
Well,
I could not believe the fireball when I was nowhere near the fire pit.
Yeah, that's good to know, though. You know,
yeah,
for various reasons. One, if I see someone pouring or using some of that in a like campfire somewhere, I'd be like, I'm gonna go way over here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I guess those lanterns need to burn that bright. Jesus.
I guess, yeah.
I remember having those lanterns as a kid. With like, it looked like the little like bee's nest that would light up in them. You know?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't realize those things were that fucked up.
Well, again, you know, you know, stuff from like our youth was way more dangerous than the stuff
that's
now.
True.
So.
Hey, kids, throw these giant darts in the air
and look up, of course.
Yeah, and look up. Yeah, just throw them straight up. Just, you know, don't actually play the game. Yeah, you're right. What was I thinking?
That's all anyone did with them.
Now lanterns are LED. I mean, I've got like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they're great. They're bright as fuck, and they're itty bitty. And I guess if it gets knocked over, the whole forest won't burn down.
Yeah, you'd hope not, anyway.
Yeah, for sure. It'd be crazy.
Dude, I remember
like these LEDs are bright.
Dude, my dad had this one that he had at his body shop that was it was probably a foot or so squared, you know, and it was like, you know, the like halogen type lights, you know, at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. You turn that thing on and it was like, you know, you like feel yourself getting tan basically, you know.
Oh yeah, one of those things
crank
out the heat.
Yeah, but I mean it lit up a big area. You know, it did what it's supposed to do, but holy jeebus. Like if you were out somewhere and had access, like if you could plug it into a cigarette lighter or something on a car, they could see you probably, you know, in the air and be like, oh my God, is there a movie premiere over here?
Like, Jesus, what is that?
Gets in the pilot's eyes. Next thing you know, they're tangling a helicopter around the trees, you know?
Yeah, exactly, right?
Fuck.
The old halogens.
Yeah.
The old girls.
Yeah, those were something. Whew.
Old something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I also, did I tell you about my suit I bought?
You told me. I don't know if you said it on here, though.
Okay, because I did buy one of those Christmas suits, and I'm always like all like pumped and shit. Like, yeah, it's going to be fucking sick. Yeah, I was going to break it out for my stepdad's company's Christmas party. Because normally that's like, it starts at 3 and goes till, you know, we're all asleep.
Yeah.
I just got text today, like, oh, hey, by the way, the party's this Saturday. It's from 2 to 5. I'm like, yeah, I work. So I'm not even going to be able to go.
Oh, boo. Just show up afterward.
I'll get out at 4.
Just show up afterwards. You'll be fine.
I might be like, hey, I'm working, but if you guys are still going to be hanging out, I'll come up. And then show up dressed as like a fucking Christmas tree with my sick-ass red suspenders.
Just go anyway. Don't worry about whether they're hanging out or not. Just go in and help yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't believe that. I was like, what? Really? And I imagine they're just getting sick of the nonsense, probably. Yeah. Understandable. That's why you always, you know, that's why you get a hall instead, you know. Last year they did it at his buddy's bar. You know, and that was cool.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised they didn't do it again, but I don't know.
Maybe he didn't want the nonsense.
Yeah, you may be right. Like, he's like, I know I run a bar, but your crowd, Jesus.
Yeah, like it's not worth the money.
Fuck this.
Oof, right?
Oh, dude, speaking of drinking. Yesterday I went to a friend of the show, Steve's house.
Yes.
And we, I mentioned a while ago, we made mead.
Mm-hmm.
And we went for, like, all the primary fermentation is done. So we wanted to go transfer it into, to let it ferment and not ferment. Let it just kind of, like, settle.
Okay.
And, like, mild out a little bit, whatever. I'm sure he's listening to this and be like, Tony, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're goddamn right, Steve.
Yeah, we always assume that, though, so.
But, bro, it's like a dry white wine.
Really?
It's crazy.
Huh.
And with the amount of honey and cider that went into it, the yeast he picked out just, like, ate all of that sugar up.
Oh, wow.
And it's very tasty.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, like, I was expecting sweetness. Because, like, the first time we tasted it was a little sweet, but it was very, like, herbal.
Okay.
It almost tasted like a medicine-y kind of, like, almost.
Delicious.
Like a digestif or whatever.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
But now it's like white wine. It's like dry, and the herbs are real muted. Everything kind of went together nicely.
Wow. So
it's pretty good.
Are you guys going to box it?
I have a bottle of it in my basement.
Ah.
Yeah, and then the rest we put in his big, like, carboy that you ferment it so it can kind of, like, do its thing. And, we're going to give it, like, 3 or 4 weeks and see how it changed.
Interesting.
It's an interesting process, though.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the shit out of this.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
I know, right? It's like, huh. I just was not expecting that flavor when I took a swig.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, I think he was trying to take a sweet, sweet advantage of my little booty. Because it was like, he's like, so do you want a beer? Do you want a beer or do you want scotch? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you know what? I just got here. So
Scotch.
For sure, scotch.
Yeah, right. Or both.
Like, if I was ready to leave, it's a terrible idea.
Right. Well, just look at this from a practical standpoint. You have 2 hands.
It's true.
Why not both?
So I had the scotch, and then as he's getting the scotch, he's like, you know what? I'm going to grab one of these beers just in case. Do you want one? And it was like Bell's Double Cream Stout. I'm like, yeah, why not, Steve? So now I've got my scotch, I've got my beer, and then I have the glass of the mead we made. And it's like, I have all these beverages. And I do need to get home at some point.
Nah, you're fine.
Yeah, but it was a nice little evening at his place.
That's why they have Ubers and cabs.
Dude, he lives too far away.
I know.
To do that shit.
Probably like a $50 or so ride.
Wait, then I gotta go back the next morning and get my car. Fuck
Right.
that.
Nice morning walk.
Yeah, I'll just go sleep in the Jeep.
Yeah, actually, that'd be the better move. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll see you, buddy. He gets up and go to work. I'm out there sleeping.
Yeah. Nude, of course.
Of course. Duh.
Sprawled out on the hood of your Jeep.
That's how I sleep.
Yeah.
I'm sure the neighbors love that shit.
Yeah. Like, oh, looks like
was,
Steve's giving people booze again.
Yeah, like, god damn it. Yeah, it was a nice little trip out to Monroe, though.
That's cool.
Yeah, right. Monroe.
Monroe.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get all comfy. I don't know why these lights are on out here when I'm paying the goddamn light bill. Who's leaving the fucking lights on, mate? Hey! I know he's upstairs.
Yeah. This is where you need the dot in there.
I know.
Like,
oh, dude, I can do it from my phone. Because I have the Alexa app.
Oh, this is riveting for the listeners.
I know. Sorry, listeners. It'll be riveting in a second. How about you, Brian? How's your stuff been while my stuff's loading?
Stay tuned as we're about to go live. No.
All right.
Well, I was in McDonald's last week, and while I'm standing there waiting, there's this kid that's, probably Logan's age or so.
I'm dropping in on him.
All right.
Logan, are you there? Can you read me? Yo, Logan. Logan. God damn it. I don't think he's accepting my call.
Rude.
Son of a bitch. How dare he?
Right?
It's going to bug me those lights are on, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
sorry.
that's all right. So there's this kid working, and I see him. He's assembling the burgers and stuff, right? So
Right.
he grabs the Mayo gun, which, for anyone who maybe doesn't know, is basically like a caulk gun that shoots mayo.
Yeah.
So
Super sexy.
yeah, it is. And he puts so much on there. Like, I watched him use it a couple times. I was like, Jesus, there's got to be 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise there.
So if you were in that position, every time you put mayo on a sandwich, would you just yell, dropping loads?
Yes. Of course. I mean,
Yeah, top of your lungs.
oh, for sure.
With lots of growling and snarling.
Mhm.
Ah!
Be like, all right, hurry it up. Come on, we got burgers to make. But at one point, when he pulled the trigger on the thing, it didn't shoot anything out. So he held it up and then pulled the trigger again. And when he did, it shot. And the manager was standing on the other side of this counter thing. And it hit her all up the arm. And, like, when it did, she was like, ah! Right? And it, like, kind of freaked out. And afterwards, she's walking around and she's like, she's like, I've worked here all these years and I've never had to worry about what it feels like to get shot. But now I know, and she's like, and then the kid just turned so red, and she's just giving him shit, which is, what she should do. It's good fun. And then he goes back to what he's doing and she's like, you better get over here and clean this up. She's like, I'm not cleaning this up. And that just made me laugh because,
Towel.
yeah, you clean your own load up, kid.
Exactly.
Man. It just made me laugh because I saw it hit her arm and she like flailed back. I think she was trying to dodge it and just
Tried to do a little Neo bullet time.
yeah, just didn't quite get out of the way, but she tried. It was fun to watch though.
I kind of want a Mayo gun, just in my private life.
Yeah.
Do a Mayo drive-by.
Yeah. Oh man, you just at a stoplight. Somebody's got a convertible.
That'd be the worst.
Split.
I was just thinking right on their windshield. That shit's just gonna smear. Oh, that'd be the worst.
Yep. Right in the visor of somebody's motorcycle helmet.
Not even hitting them with the quality helmets. It's
No.
like, private selection
Oh, for
mayonnaise
sure.
or something.
Like, I'm going to spend a bunch of money on mayo. I'm just going to, shoot at people,
Right? Exactly. Be like good stuff mayo.
Mhm.
Very bottom shelf.
It's stuff with one F.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. GUDSTUF.
It's all
Good
one,
stuff.
all one word. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got umlauts over the U.
Boy, does it. I'm like, what is this IKEA? Where
Where's-
did you get this?
I don't think this country exists anymore.
What? Yeah.
Why does it say Soviet Russia on it?
Why don't I don't even get it.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was, So, you've seen that, I can't remember what company it is. I think it's Heinz or somebody has, like, mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together, right?
Yes.
And every time I see somebody posting a picture of it, I keep thinking of that Mr. Show sketch.
Right.
Where it's the, was it mustard mayonnaise or whatever? Mustard mayonnaise or, whatever it becomes. And they just keep reversing the name and everything. They should
I
sue.
mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't mind like a mayonnaise combination, like
Mm-hmm.
like I've got a little tiny bowl right now of sriracha mayo I
Mhm.
put together
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because make an egg sandwich and smear that stuff on it, and I feel like Jesus for a brief moment. It's kind of
Right.
nice,
I guess. I don't know.
but I don't know if I'd want prepackaged
Yeah,
ketchup
right.
A's or mustard A's or
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of like the goober, the peanut butter and
Yes.
jelly, and it was like
God.
neither. The peanut butter was terrible.
So is the jelly.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you people?
It's like instead of making one quality product, you've somehow combined 2 inferior products,
Yeah, exactly.
and somehow the sum of the whole is even worse.
This is like this is like Voltron's special little brother forming up.
Yeah.
falling into a tree or something. You were a terrible robot.
Yeah, you are no good at what you do.
And, I'm sure whoever I guess I would assume his name's probably like Steve Goober at Goober Corps.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Was probably like, this is a brilliant idea. We're going to have peanut butter and jelly in the same jar. Everyone's like, yes, that is a good idea. And then they just had the worst peanut butter you could buy.
Yeah. Well, do you know the other part that sucked was like, I remember we got it like once or twice. And it was like, if you just want peanut butter, once you've swirled the knife in there a few times, it's like, I don't want jelly on celery,
That's accurate.
Like, I want some peanut butter on my celery or an apple or whatever. I'm not really looking for the jelly on there, too.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah. So
that is strictly a one sandwich, one food jar.
Yeah. That's how I feel, too.
If you don't want PB&J, get the fuck out.
Right. Yeah, that was one of those things I never understood. Like, people loving those. Like, do you remember those little boxes of microwave fries? They were like,
I don't remember.
Oh, I can't remember what they're called now. They were in like a red box, and they were like, oh, they crisp up like whatever. No, they didn't. You put them in the microwave. They were soggy as fuck.
Microwave.
They were gross. Yeah.
The only thing that got crispy in a microwave was like the corners of a Hot Pocket. Like, I'm pretty sure you could crunch a diamond underneath that.
Yeah, I do all the time.
That shit was crazy. That's like NASA technology. Those are the tiles they put on space shuttles.
Yep. Well, that is what
crazy.
That's NASA's primary funding is from Hot Pockets. How do you
Just
think
the corners?
Well, no. How do you think they got the technology to make it like piping hot and yet frozen?
That's true. That's accurate.
That's like, being like, hey, here's a solid and a liquid at the same time.
True.
It's like, how's this happening?
Yeah, I haven't had a Hot Pocket in a long time, and I don't miss it.
Really?
Those used to be my shit.
I find that hard to believe, Tony.
Yeah, all right. You know what I almost bought the other day? Because they caught my eye when I was perusing the grocery store.
Hookers?
Definitely. I just watched F is for Family's new season.
Oh, I haven't watched it
jobs.
I haven't watched it yet.
Eye contact suck jobs. Anywho, no, I almost bought a frozen burrito. I don't know why.
Wow.
And if I had a working microwave, I probably would have. Because I'm like, let me look at these instructions. And it was like toaster oven, 25 minutes. I'm like, I'm not waiting 25 minutes for a $1 burrito.
I know.
This is ridiculous.
That's what always made me laugh on those, was when they had those instructions. Because I'm always like, who the fuck isn't using a microwave for this?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I've never been to anyone's house and had them pull out a frozen burrito and go, let's put them in the oven. Will they taste better that way? Yes. But I've never seen anyone do it. So I'm sure there are people, of course, but
hey, bro, you want a microwave burrito? Yes, I'm so hungry.
Like,
cool. Cue up an episode of something because it won't be done until this is over.
Yeah.
What?
There they are. Micro Magic. That's what they were called.
Micro Magic.
Yep. And they were in little red.
That sounds like a little person wizard.
It was. How do you think the fries got crispy?
Goddamn
magic.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they were in little red boxes. Apparently, from me scrolling here, they also had microwave hamburgers, which I'm sure were delicious too.
Oh, good Lord. I really don't miss eating that food.
Really?
I used to eat all that stuff.
I know.
I don't miss that stuff at all. I mean, that's why I saw that microwave burrito. I'm like, dude, I remember loving these.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to get the beef and bean and with the cheese, and I saw the cooking instructions. I'm like, I'm not waiting this long.
Well, the other problem is you've had quality burritos. So when you put that thing in your face, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever.
Yeah, but every once in a while, just like some shit food is okay.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, every once in a while, you got to get back into the trenches, you know?
Right. Like when you're backed up for a while, you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I could take a fiber supplement or probiotic or eat some frozen burritos.
Or do both.
Yeah. Or go get some questionable Chinese food.
Yes, exactly.
Yikes. Oh, man. That's funny. it is funny how often I'm at the store and I'll see one of those things from like our youth and I'll be like, wow, they still make, like Kid Cuisine's a perfect example.
Oh my God.
You know,
right.
and they still make them. And I'm like, I can't believe this has lasted this long. You know, I really thought that would be kind of a gimmick that would go away at some point. But nope.
Well, dude, you know what I remember when I was perusing and I saw the frozen burrito, I started looking around. I was like, oh, look, it's a 40-count bag of Totino's pizza rolls.
Yep.
I used to eat that whole fucking
Dude,
bag.
I still, like, if I get a bag of 40 of them, I usually will eat the better part of half of it because I'm now aware that I shouldn't even eat that many. But when you're a kid, you don't know anything about serving size, you know?
Yeah, I just dumped it on the sheet
Dude.
pan. I'm like, oh, there's still like 5 in here. I'll just do the whole bag.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are you going to do, have 5 later? Pfft.
Yeah, exactly, right? And like, what am I going to do, put this in a Tupperware?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely,
yeah,
yes.
Tupperware's called my face.
No, dude, you open the bag and you get like, you put 5 in 8 different containers. Meal prep, son.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Sunday meal prep, boys.
Yep.
What?
Dude, I remember, like, with you and with my nephew, like, he'd come over to play games, and I'd just throw the whole bag in, you know, and we'd just smash the whole bag.
You take those pizza rolls to pound.
Yeah, and I know you and I did it plenty of times, too, so it's like...
Yeah, those pizza rolls are never safe.
No.
I still have the scars on the inside of my mouth to show what a savage I was when it came to eating those things.
Yeah, well, can't argue
Fresh
with that.
from the oven. Like, nope. I remember the trick was you bit it just enough
Yeah.
to open up an air pocket.
Yep.
And you ding it into it. Fuck you.
Man.
Totino's.
You just blew into
I need your
everyone's
pizza
ears,
roll to
Tony.
get this in my face immediately.
Yeah, right? The worst is if you ever get, like, the store brand ones. They're so bad.
Yeah, I recall. I had those as well. I was like, this is definitely an inferior product
Yeah.
to an already inferior product.
Right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not making pizza rolls myself. That's just way too much damn work. I'll just make a calzone. But, you know.
Like, I assumed the Totino's pizza rolls, I'm like, this is probably some sort of land-based animal protein.
Mm-hmm.
That's, that's quote-unquote cubed up pepperoni.
Right.
But it's a store brand. Who knows what that shit is?
Yeah.
That's probably ground up homeless people.
They better not be using our proprietary blend. Yeah.
Our proprietary blend. It's 80% hobo, 20% beef tallow.
Oh, man. Well, it's 80% hobo, 20% hobo leave-ins. You know, it's kind of the trim-ins, if you will.
Yeah.
You know?
Hobo scraps.
Yeah. Gross.
Our proprietary blend. That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Good shit.
You prefer your hobo coarse ground or?
Yeah. Well, you know. Speaking of calzone, though.
Yeah.
My nephew got married on Friday, and afterwards we went to, local, sorry folks, we went to Calvino's.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
I haven't been to Calvino's in a minute.
Me either, and somebody was nice enough to pay for everybody's food. So,
nice.
Yeah,
Never.
and.
I mean, you're welcome.
Yeah. You're the anonymous benefactor.
Yes, I was up in the rafters, like the Phantom of the Opera.
I knew it. That's what I heard.
Exactly.
I thought I heard chittering raccoon sounds. I was wondering what they kept shooing away from the garbage.
Get out of here, you.
Go
the
and
guys
get.
in the wine bar.
Go and get. But yeah, they had, we had like chicken Alfredo, like a thing of, penne with tomato sauce, some salad and, some of the bread, which, I smashed like 1,000 pieces of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So
they had a couple calzones. They had one that had, ham and sausage, I think. And then the other one was like 4 cheese. So I was just happy to sample around because, it all tasted good. But, all right, have you been in the private dining room they have up there?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you know how it has like this half wall and then you can look down over like the wine area?
Yeah.
Well, the food was right against that wall, and there
Oh,
were
geez.
metal lids, you know, those big fucking lids that they put over trays. And two of them were there, and somebody, I don't know, like my nephew's kid and another guy were over there. And all of a sudden we hear this loud noise, and we all turn, and I see him like barely grabbing onto them before these two things just toppled over that wall and onto unsuspecting people below.
Yeah, that seems like a terrible idea to have those lids right
Yeah.
there.
So after that, yeah, he grabbed the lids and just moved them, you know, because they left them kind of on to, you know, keep some heat, you know, keep the heat in there. But it was like, yeah,
Right.
this is a bad idea. So luckily, that guy had cat-like reflexes and saved the day.
I mean, he's a real hero.
He would have been too.
Thin metal lids to the dome, that's going to slice you right open.
Seriously, from that distance, I mean, if you caught a corner of that, it'd fuck you up.
Yeah, exactly.
If you caught any of it, it would probably mess you up, unless you're me, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Then it'd be
against the goddamn rock.
Right. Otherwise, I was gonna say, otherwise it'd be like, you know, a penny on railroad tracks. Like, how does this lid get so flat? Oh, it hit Brian's head. Yeah.
Like, oh, geez, that was ruined.
Yeah, just, you know, like I said, luckily he was there and nabbed him before they went. So.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been a problem.
And, you know, the people below, completely unsuspecting of how they almost died.
Yeah, they don't know about the heroics that happen above them.
See, it's just like us with superheroes.
Exactly, right?
Mm-hmm. These things going on up above us, we don't even know.
Don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
No clue.
Right, like magnets, how they even work.
Goddamn you, ICP. Ugh.
But anyway, the dinner was tasty as hell, though. So.
Well, yeah, Calvino's.
Right. They nailed it as normal. They were
Places,
busy, though.
That place is the tits.
Yeah, that place was slammed. Dude, that wine bar area was even, like, full. And I think it was just people waiting, you know?
That place is, I mean,
Yeah.
for being such a little Italian joint,
Yeah.
I mean, I love that place. I only go on the weekdays, though, because it's so busy on the weekends.
Yeah, there was almost nowhere to park in the whole building parking lot because on the other side you got that, was it Fusion or whatever the hell it's called?
Yeah, that's kind of a cool bar, too.
Yeah,
I've been in there a couple
and
times.
that place was slammed. So it was,
right?
And I don't know what else is open in there, but, you know, it was like, geez. But there were a lot of cars, but, well, whatever. So then we go to leave to come home, and dude, we couldn't even see a quarter of the mile down the road. It was so foggy. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, because, you know, like, I'm anxious in cars anyway.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, man. Luckily, I got distracted by, I was guiding us based on, like, I could tell you, you know, where we were based on what I could see, you know? Because made that trip so many times, you know? It's basically coming back from Rockies, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
very familiar with that road.
Yeah, it's like, look, I could direct us home drunk because I've done that. And so, yeah, you know, we got home okay and everything, but it was still like, it was terrible. And it got worse as we got closer to here, you know, like it was thicker fog once we got fairly close to the Michigan border. So,
I am familiar because Leah had a movie night at her school that night, so I dropped her off and I just kind of like putzed around Toledo for a couple hours waiting for it to be done, and I couldn't believe how bad it got.
Yeah, none of us realized it because where we were at, you couldn't really see, you know, down. You could only see up in the sky, and you're not going to see the fog really there, you know?
Right.
So we go to leave, and I looked at my nephew, and I'm like, you should go back in and tell everybody that, you know, it's time to get the hell up out of here, because just in case this gets worse, you know?
Yeah, it was bad. Like,
Yeah.
I almost drove by my house going home. It was because it was so bad up here.
I can see that, though, because, like, with your house, like, the reason I know where your house is I see the church.
Right.
And I go, oh, there's the house. Because I do that when me and T come up to your place all the time, because he almost every time almost drives by your place.
Right.
So I've gotten to where I point your place out to him even sooner now, so that, you know, we won't go past, you know. But in the fog, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing probably like 10 miles an hour as I was getting closer, just like squinting into the fog.
Right?
Leah's like, "There's the mailbox. We're getting close." I'm like, "I know."
She's like, "No, there's the mailbox as you hit it."
Yeah, it's fine. It's a Jeep thing.
Yeah. Off road.
Whoa.
You drive over the mailbox. Oh shit.
Yeah, that was a crazy night. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was something else.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, I was sore monkey. Jesus.
But yeah, it was fun though. It was cool seeing him, that happy and stuff. That's awesome. Because
yeah, for sure.
It's all I ever wished for him anyway, and he seems beyond happy. So that's good enough for me.
Good enough for you, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. However, I, like a dummy, didn't check my suit the night before. So I get up and I go to get ready and I go to grab my suit and I'm like, oh man, it's just crammed in my closet. It's all wrinkled and I'm like, fuck.
Oh boy.
And I'm looking at the time going, I don't have time to fix this.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I just put a button down plaid on and, nice shoes and I just gotten some brand new jeans. So I was like, well, I'll wear those because they're dark, so. I told Mike, I was like, I'm sorry, blah, blah. And he was like, it happens, I was like, and of course, I was the only guy there not wearing a shirt and tie.
Yeah, whatever.
Of course. I was like, damn it, couldn't one person save me here? Nope.
My favorite's when I'm like, it's a wedding or whatever. I'll throw on a tie and button up one of my jackets, and I show up and like half the people are in sweatpants and shit. I'm like, really? Like I'm not even related to any of these people, and I'm dressed better than everybody.
Yeah. Well, for next time, right?
Yeah, it always fucks me up.
Shirt, tie, and sweatpants. Yeah.
Nice.
Basically, you dress like mankind.
Yeah, perfect. Complete with the mask.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and the sock on my hand.
Sure. Just make sure it's not a crunchy sock. Oh. Although, in fairness, he did pull those socks right out from his groin region.
Exactly, right underneath the bulls.
And I'm sure by the time that point of the match came up, I'm sure there was a nice stew baking down there.
Man, yeah, they had some funk on them.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I've heard stories.
Mushroom.
Yeah, I've heard some stories of how awful it was.
I imagine it was probably the worst thing ever.
Or close. It had to be.
Close.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, you know what sucks is yesterday or the day before, AMC had a bunch of Christmas movies on, right? And
that's kind of fun.
Right. And then I'm like, oh, cool. Christmas Vacation's on, and it's one of my favorites,
Yeah. Can't you see the lines, Russ?
Yeah. So, we started watching it and stuff, and then I realized, I'm like, oh, man. Like, AMC allows adult language on their shows. But when they play Christmas Vacation, they censored when he says shitter's full. And
that's just dumb.
They censor the part when Clark goes into his, tirade of obscenities.
Well, what are they thinking?
And I'm like, you just censored two of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
You just ruined the whole experience for me.
What a bunch of assholes.
Yeah. I own the movie. I can just watch it whenever I want, but still.
Yeah, but it's not the point.
Yeah.
It was on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to watch it then.
Well, and it was on AMC. If it was on CBS or something, I'd be like, well, okay, it's,
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon. Okay,
yeah, but
whatever.
on AMC, it's like,
yeah.
Okay, this is the network that has zombies and Preacher and,
really American movie classics?
Yeah.
Is this what we're doing now?
It must be because it was on earlier in the night, probably.
That very well could be.
Still.
It
made me sad.
It was one of those, like I always think of Neil and Idol, at least when this time of year comes around, it's always like, oh, we love the Hallmark Christmas movies. We stop, jump.
Yeah.
I was perusing Netflix, and there was something on there called an El Camino Christmas.
Please tell me it's about the car.
I wish.
I'm just picturing the movie Christine, but it's an El Camino, and it learns some Christmas lesson.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Grinch, but with a killer.
Yeah,
car.
right, with an El Camino, exactly.
That would be sick, actually.
I'd watch
I wish
that.
it was that good.
I'd watch that. Yeah.
This was a movie about a standoff in a gas station that ends pretty tragically.
Everyone
during Christmas times.
Let
And
me-
Tim Allen's in it.
Oh, well, there's a reason it's tragic then.
I was like, when is he going to transform into Santa Claus? And then never did.
No.
Yeah. But no, I was just like, I'm just going to watch this random Christmas movie I've never heard of. It's a Netflix original.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take my chances. And boy, I wish I had that time back.
What? You didn't watch the Kurt Russell one, huh?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, there's one where Kurt Russell's like Santa Claus or something. I forgot the name of it.
It'd be great if he was Santa Claus, but he was also
Snake Plissken.
Jack, whatever,
Oh.
from Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, that'll work too. Yeah.
Jack Burton.
Yeah. I'll take either one. Snake Plissken
That'd be
or
sick.
yeah.
Dude, Snake Plissken. Dude. Escape from the North Pole. Sick.
He's an elf.
Yes.
Oh my
That would be
gosh.
amazing.
Oh man, that'd be ridiculous. Escape from the North
that-
Pole. So good.
That I would watch that every year.
Listen, I would too. Now, I only have one request, which is he has to grow like his Tombstone mustache back.
Definitely.
Or the one from, what's that movie? It was like a year or two ago where he had that gigantic fucking mustache.
He had the Hateful Eight.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one.
he
That's the
definitely needs
mustache.
yeah. That giant, ridiculous stash.
Mm-hmm. Like, he
That's
should
what you
never have gotten
definitely
rid of
have
that.
to- No, exactly.
He should just be like Sam Elliott and be like, or Tom Selleck. It's like, listen, this is part of my face. It doesn't go away.
Like he should have, when he went to shave it, his beard should have like pulled a carnage and tendrils came out and just snapped the razor in half.
And just slaps him, starts beating him up. Like, wow, that's a hell of a beard or
Like,
mustache.
jeez. Yeah.
Classic
wasn't
mustaches
necessary.
like that, you gotta leave alone. You know, you just gotta let them breathe. You know, it's
Well, dude, when I was at Frickers, it's weird because their kitchen is behind the bar, obviously. And there's this little sliding window and it just goes, and then you just hear a guy go, bar, and he puts food down and then he closes the window.
okay.
But the guy that was doing this had his mustache that was so thick and so dark it looked fake. Like it looked like a Super Mario Brothers mustache. And every time I saw him, I was just like, I was staring because I'm like, is that? I couldn't tell if it was real.
You haven't seen the new product, the Just for Mario? You just brush it in.
Exactly. It's a me. Got a mustache.
Yeah, once you use the stuff, you start becoming very racist.
Yeah, for sure. Super racist.
Oh man.
Like, Mario gets up in the morning, he looks in the mirror, he's just like, ugh. And then he brushes the stuff in, and then it's a me.
Yep. He snorts a couple stars and
Exactly. Snorts some stars, and while he's got that, like, flashing invincibility, he just goes and just plows Peach real quick.
well, sure. I mean,
Because, he's got that invincibility going.
right.
She's like, can't you ever wear the Hammer Brothers suit again? Like, oh, God damn it.
Always the Tanuki suit.
Yeah, always. She's a furry. She's really into it.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's exactly.
Oh, Mario.
What
It's always weird when you see guys doing that, though. Like, I don't know if that guy, like, dyes his, but, like, when you see a guy and you're like, that's an obvious dye job,
Yeah, for sure.
It's like that's
boy,
unfortunate.
Yeah, like, man, it's going to look like when your pillow probably looks like an oil stain in the morning.
You haven't gotten
Like
to
you
it.
put it underneath a leaky car.
I don't think you've gotten to it yet, probably, but do you ever see the Married with Children where Al dyes his own hair?
No.
When he turns around, he's got, like, it looks like just oil slick down his back.
That's hilarious. No, I haven't got to that one yet.
It's pretty good, yeah. So,
I was watching
I was
so
thinking.
much of it, I'm like, I have to watch something else for a little while.
yeah, that's understandable.
That was one of those.
I've been cutting it with American Horror Story, the new season, because I keep reading how terrible it is, but I'm like, I just got to watch it because I'm curious how terrible it is.
Oh, geez, what's the premise this time? 'Cause every other time it's like, this time we're in a carnival, this time we're here, this time, is it something like,
It's,
this time?
It's the apocalypse.
Oh, I guess that's not that terrible a premise, but where do they go from here? Once the apocalypse is over?
Oh, I thought you were doing a Megadeth reference.
Oh, no, not
Nice.
this time. The next one takes place at a Megadeth concert.
Sweet.
That would be sweet.
I'd watch that.
I'll check it out.
Now they basically like a select group get to be saved because they're basically, you know, either deemed having perfect DNA for repopulation or they're like uber rich people.
Naturally.
So, which makes sense. That's pretty much how it would go. And
like, hey, check her out. She's definitely got perfect DNA. I'd rescue that.
Yeah.
Perfect DNA in that ass.
She's about to have some perfect DNA. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, well timed.
Thank you.
It's like Heno was working the board. Heno's my Dennis Rodman, always cleaning up the board, you know? But yeah, I've only watched the first like 2 or 3. I can't remember what it is. So it's just basically them in this underground bunker thing, and they're eating like these little cubes, like these gel cubes, which basically it's just pure nutrient, you know? Like
delicious.
Yeah.
Dude, I could go for a gel cube right now. I'm starving.
It's like, picture little Energon cubes. That's basically what they're eating.
That's awesome. Be great if they glowed.
Yeah, right? But I don't know. We'll see. I usually watch the show because usually, even if it's terrible, I usually can laugh at how terrible it is, you know? So
fair enough.
We'll see. But I've been jumping between that and Married with Children because... And this is a really shitty side effect of my antidepressants. I can't watch any show that has any sort of like psychological thriller type element and then go to bed, because if I do, I will have nightmares. I mean, there's no other way to put it. And it's not necessarily exactly what's going on in the show. It's my brain just does weird shit when I watch stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. And I have I've told you before, I have really lucid dreams. Like when I wake up from them, I'm like freaked out because they feel so real. So I watch an episode or 2 of that, bust out some Married with Children, you know.
The classic landing gear.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I said, it's unfortunate. I never had this issue before antidepressants, but since I've been on those, my brain, if I get into that deep sleep, my brain goes crazy on me.
Like, psst, remember all that shit you saw? We're gonna bring it up in spades.
Remember how you shit your pants earlier? Now you're sleeping.
Yeah, and now it's really gonna happen.
You know how you like to say shit the bed?
Exactly.
Damn it. Oh, man. I was trying to think of one because I just the other night had this issue. And I can remember one thing, which was I was in a room with a bunch of people. There was a woman or whatever to my right. And then there was some hooded person that was like, choose carefully. And it's like, pick one of the people in this room and you'll get to join her at your brother's. And I'm like, and I remember myself just standing there thinking, look, because there was like a list of their like professions. So I'm trying to figure out what makes sense, you know, and then it hits me and I solve the problem, which is I choose her because she's already going. So I get to mirror her actions. That's what it was. I'm sorry, I worded it wrong. Was whoever I picked, I got to mirror like their action or something like that. So I picked her, and that's how I solved it. And then we go into this room, and boom, I just wake up. Just this dark room, and then boom, I just sit up in bed. And it wasn't that it was scary, but it was just so, like, it was one of those times where I literally had to, like, ground myself, you know, touch the bed, touch the floor. Yeah.
Like, was that real? Am I dreaming now?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that's fucked up when that shit happens.
Yeah. Sometimes they're not bad. Sometimes they're funny or weird, you know, and then sometimes they, like, freak me out, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah. Which is why, like, I don't watch, like, jump horror movies anymore, because I almost can't now. So That's
No,
pretty
you're
cool.
not missing much.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of that. But did you see Netflix canceled Daredevil?
I just heard a little bit of it from stuff I saw on the internet earlier.
Yeah.
I didn't see any confirmation. That kind of sucks.
I think, like,
It seems like they're kind of cleaning house almost.
yeah, especially with Disney's service launching next year or whatever it is, you know. But it's weird because I don't know, like, how the rights fall for that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, this is true.
Like,
right?
can Disney start their own Daredevil show, or does Netflix own some sort of rights to that? Or, like, because, I mean, why would Netflix want to play ball kind of if they got the show taken from them, So I don't know. I'm curious to see how that stuff goes.
Yeah, that is interesting because I don't know how that works either.
Yeah. I did read something that said that basically they said that the character will still continue to exist in other ways, basically. So, which, could be another season of The Punisher or, whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're not doing more Defenders. They already said that,
Right. And no more Iron Fist or Luke Cage.
Yeah,
What
those have
about
been
Jessica
canceled.
Jones?
I haven't heard that being canceled yet, but it has to be coming, right? I mean,
if they canceled Daredevil, I would think so.
That's what I'm
I
thinking.
always felt like Daredevil was the most popular.
yeah. Even though, remember, we talked about that once before, for a while, it wasn't the most downloaded or watched. Jessica Jones was.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe.
Blew my mind. But yeah, so I'm curious. It's too bad. I haven't watched the new season of Daredevil, but it's too bad because it was, it was one of the better shows that they had. So, oh well,
Oh, well, is right.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say there.
Man.
You all right?
Yeah, it's just it's one of those things I can't. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, it's 11 o'clock. I feel like I'm dying all of a sudden.
You are, Tony.
It's just I don't understand how that happens.
Good question. I don't know.
You know?
Yeah.
It's a fucking bizarro world, man.
Right? All right, I have one news story.
Ooh, all right. Lay it on me, baby.
And this I got from Vice. The headline on it is, millennials in China are using nudes to secure loans.
What?
People are in China, they're wanting loans for like micro things, like to buy a sandwich. And they have like the micro, you know what micro loan is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For anyone who's listening, if they don't know, it's basically you take whatever the loan amount is and you pay tiny payments on it for basically 1,000 years.
Yeah, until you die.
Right. So they get enough money for like a sandwich, and it can take, like, where is it? Sign up to Afterpay, and for a series of $10 monthly installments, you could have that tub paid off in 60 years. For a jacuzzi, basically. And people are getting these loans to get iPhones and just kind of everything. And like it says in here, they're not just using it for big ticket items. They're doing it for, some of them are letting people pay for small purchases like burgers on a long-term monthly installment basis.
That seems so dumb.
And I guess in China, I'm basically reading from here, the cost of living is high, and the chance of getting a credit card is really low. So basically, this market is booming because it's providing it's filling a need.
Right.
But it says you can, like one thing was like you can get a huge box of Oreos and pay it back in monthly installments of 41 cents over 3 years.
Oh my God! Can you imagine having to do something like that?
Yeah, like paying.
Maybe as a goof.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, some of these loan services, because they're sketchy as fuck, are making people send or telling them in order to get the money, they have to submit a nude to them. And then if they don't pay it back, they'll release the nude.
What?
Yeah.
How do they know it's even you?
They don't, I guess. No, I think you have to like hold your ID up.
Oh, okay.
Or something to that effect. So
like I could take my driver's license and like tuck it underneath my balls and be like, here you go, guys.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Right.
But it's Oh my goodness, I didn't even catch this one. All right, so this is part of this thing here. It says in 2016, a total of 10 gigabytes of nudes from 161 young women, all of who were holding their photo IDs, were leaked online by microlenders.
Oh my God.
Most of the victims were between age 19 and 23 and typically borrowed sums of money between $1,000 and $2,000.
Jesus.
Others were reportedly given the option to do sex work in order to pay off their loans.
Well, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Should be able to pay him off pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shitty, it's a shitty prospect, but, I mean, yeah, I guess.
That'd be like one of those payday advancement companies around here, like Cashland or whatever, being like, well, you know we need this loan and we got it to you, but you're gonna have to suck some dick to pay it back.
Right. Like, no, not mine. Well, I mean, no.
Like,
yeah.
How did Cash America become my pimp?
The sign now says Cash America and hose.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
And it's an N hose, not
N
and
hose.
sign. Yeah. No ampersand. It's just a big N.
Yeah, ampersand's in the back taking it.
That's a good name for a kid, right? Ampersand.
It is. Ampersand's like that A, B, C, D, E, or whatever. Mm-hmm. I saw that nonsense.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, when I was reading this, when I first read this, the first thought that popped into my head was, is this an episode of Black Mirror? Because it kind of feels like an episode of Black Mirror.
Fair enough, right?
But then I was like, God, can you imagine? Like, in the government over there is planning to crack down on these and stuff, which should be much like the predatory lending here with, like you said, with some of those cash advance places where there's, caps on how much they can loan a person and crap now,
Which, yeah, for sure should be.
Because otherwise they'll bury you for life.
Yeah. Like, oh, thanks. You're never getting out of this hole.
Yeah.
Time to suck some dick.
Yep. And that's what this is too, is basically they charge interest on the loans in order to basically keep you in debt,
Brutal.
Yeah. The other thing is, if they've got your nudes, I mean, geez, they could literally sell them, because they could basically make you sign a paper probably that says you're giving away the rights,
This is true. Now it makes you wonder if there's some of those women are probably just like, I don't care.
Yeah, there's got to be an element of that, because, that's not just like if it was guys, it'd be the same thing. Be like, go ahead, who cares,
Yeah, unless it was a little cold when they took the news. Like, hold on, let me send you a different one.
I was in the pool. Yeah.
Geez, let me just crank a little dilly on this for a little bit. Hold on. Hand me that rubber band. I got to pinch this off. Get this going nice.
Yep. Man. The part I was going to, though, is like, I could see this running rampant here, too. Because
yeah, for sure.
There's so many people who would like to have this or that. And this would be, like, if you tell most people, hey, you can get a brand new Tesla for 40 cents a day, they're going to go, holy shit, sign me up.
Right.
Because it doesn't seem like that much money until they then go, you'll be paying for it until, like, your great-great-great-grandchildren die.
Yeah, exactly. This Tesla is going to become a family heirloom.
Yeah. You better pass it down from generation to generation.
Like what?
So, yeah, that blew my mind, because, again, even with the same terms, with the nudes or even with the sex work, I could see people agreeing to that.
Yeah.
To some extent, depending on what they're getting for it, I mean, look what we give away for free to these places already,
For sure.
Let alone if cash money's involved.
But you're 100% right. If someone were like some college kid,
yeah,
the company's like, bro, I know you need that new MacBook.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I really do.
Mm-hmm.
50 cents a day, man. Just sign this paper.
Right? Exactly.
Meanwhile, I'm 65 and this MacBook is rotted away and I'm still paying for it.
Yep. And the thing is, for anyone who thinks that I'm crazy and saying that I think it could work here also, and I'm not advocating it, I think it's a terrible idea,
No.
but
We're behind it making money.
Dude,
That's
all
a
you
good
got to
idea.
do is look at, like, rent-to-own places.
Oh, for sure.
Those places are not in your favor. But they go, hey, TV for $10 a week. Again, people go, I can afford $10.
Like, oh shit, it's $40 a month?
Yeah,
Fuck yeah.
I can do that. $20 out of each paycheck. I won't miss that,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, you have, like, a whole new, like, living room full of stuff. And
Like, oh, well, since you're getting a TV, I mean, you're really going to sit on your shitty couch? Like, you know what? He's right.
And look,
I got that spring in my back.
we'll give you free payments. Like, we'll make your payments for the first month on it. Like, well, all right.
Deliver it.
Yeah. Well, I almost have the TV paid off, so I can pay the TV off, and then I could just put that money into the couch. And again, it just keeps the loop,
Yeah. Like, bro, that couch looks like shit. No end tables. God, he's right.
You can't have those end tables and not have some sconces on the wall, man.
Dude, that's an extra like 35 cents a day. Like, oh man, I can do that.
You won't even miss that.
Like, holy shit. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, right? That's why when I read this, I was like, Jeebus. Like, I am surprised this isn't, like, everywhere.
Are you really the type of parents going to let your kid sleep in a full-size bed? Like, oh, man. Shit, I'm a terrible parent.
Right? Or better yet, they'll be like, hey, what size is the bed you and your lady sleep on? Like, well, it's a king or queen, Be like, really? Like, just shaking your head.
Yeah.
Really? You're not going to get a king size?
Like, man, hey, you look a little tall, California king, but I guess if you want to sleep, I'll get a good night's sleep.
If you want to sleep like in a cave, go for it. I mean,
exactly. Jeez, you want to be like every other guy. Whatever, it's cool.
You don't think she deserves the best. I mean, that's up to you,
Exactly. Whatever, man.
I mean, she might leave you, but,
At that point, I mean, she sees a good bed next door. She's like, oh, man, that looks nice. And then she's there. Crazy.
Yeah, she sees the neighbor get the giant king-size bed delivered.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I'm going to go talk to the neighbor with the big bed. Wink.
It's like suddenly she's over there at the big bed and she's, using that brand new dryer they just got to dry out them panties. It's crazy. That's how it works, man.
Yep, exactly. Logical progression.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so yeah, there's all the things I have.
Beauty. I covered all the nonsense I had,
All right.
which wasn't much again because I'm terrible at taking notes lately, but okay. What was that, guys? Who said that?
I think we were going to do some Dude Mountain.
Holy shit, that light turned off. Maybe it burned up.
Let's hope.
Yeah, right. No, it means I got to replace the damn light bulb.
Just tell Alexa to do it.
Yeah, really. I'll order you some light bulbs. No.
No.
You asked for it, Brian. You got it.
Sweet.
I mean, I guess if your neighbor's got to do mountain, you might as well get, like, the summit and stuff. Anywho, Dude Mountain. Let's do the old bottom three like we like to do here on
Really quick, you and I need to open our own rent-to-own store.
Yeah, boy, do we. Just like underhand, like under breath talk to people into getting stuff.
Oh, man. Be terrible.
Yeah. Be amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I mean, yeah, it's a cool table we just got, but that flyware you have almost terrible.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's fine for me. It would be okay for me. I'm a single guy. It's like...
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind eating off paper plates.
But that guy over there, he pulls so much tail with that giant bed.
Oh. That is so much. I mean, he's got that big bed.
I'm just pointing at you the whole time. We're just working an angle.
Next to it.
We're almost playing good cop, bad cop with him.
Exactly. Or Tango and Cash, bad cop, worst cop.
Right, yeah.
So, steaming in the port, and I think he's in the same mode of piloting his boat that I've been in, is the USS Mangravy. Devry. You haven't been putting in your numbers, son. I know I dropped the ball last week, but these things happen, man. I'm with you.
He's been busy with sturdy women.
I mean, I can't blame him. Sturdy women.
I said it on Gotham Lights the other night, too. I just appreciate his sturdy woman references on Shot of History.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. So you got, it goes Gaga James, we've decided he's drowned and in the bottom. He's in Davy Jones' locker, which, is an okay locker. But,
I mean, yeah, you could use a locker, but we've got these nice filing cabinets or armoires.
it's not actually mahogany, but it's a mahogany pattern.
The next time they come in, you'll be like, oh, you got the mahogany pattern? Ooh, you should have went with the mahogany.
Yeah, we actually have real mahogany now. So you got the USS Mangravy, Devry, he's down there at the bottom. Riding Devry, though, is the good old Neil Tom John Dovey. It's Neil from Daft Punk, guys. And a former enthusiast guest, Dr. Feelgood. Those are the bottom three. And I'm like, I've got my stupid lifesaver ring, and I'm staying afloat above these guys.
Get your swimmies on.
I'm like, hey guys, it's like a unicorn, like inflatable.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say a ducky, but okay, yeah, unicorn's better. Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's scroll to the top of Dude Mountain here, where we got unseating. What am I doing? I need to start at number 3, dog. Yeah. We got Bear McCocker coming in at number 3. Which is nice. Mm-hmm. The Madden 16 picks has dropped out of the top slot, but only trailing by 1 point.
And there's a game going on right now, so I don't know how they picked, but yeah.
1 point behind Beside Geek, though. Mm-hmm. Who's now in the top spot of Dude Mountain. Congratulations, Beside Geek.
Yeah, they've been on a pretty strong, consistent run too.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe they are also using Madden picks after the success.
That would be really funny.
That would be pretty funny. Like, actually, we're using ESPN 2005 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what we need to do for like next year is we need 2. Yes, I was going to say 2 copies of Madden the same year, and have them both pick. And
that would be actually pretty fun. I was thinking that vibrating game. when you just like you let the little football players buzz and they zip on the board.
Oh man, that'd take forever.
No, Mom keeps leaning up against the game like, get out of here, you
Mom,
fucking up my game. Like, oh, but I'm almost done. God damn it.
Yep.
She keeps taking the game in her room. Man, Mom loves that football game.
Yeah, when her friends come over to help her work in the closet or whatever.
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
Well, chipper.
They each have an end zone.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Nice. Hot.
Speaking of Mayo gun.
Yeah, right. So there's your Dude Mountain update, though, guys.
Mountain, 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 mountain.
I love this little ad on the side of my screen here for ESPN Fantasy Foot. I don't know what it is, but it sounds incredible.
I think that's ESPN's new fetish site.
Apparently, like, come on over to ESPN Fantasy Foot. But it's just all the ESPN anchors and socks and hot socks.
Right.
A bunch of ghouls. Someone shooting a Mayo gun on somebody's toes.
Oh, jeez.
Getting all gross.
That's terrible.
Getting all weird.
Well, what's weird about that?
That's true. Good point.
I mean, just saying. I forgot to pull up the QW stuff here.
Oh,
Did you look to see if...
Oh, shit, son. You mean these ones I got on Face page?
Yeah.
From Face?
Finally. Yeah.
So Cute Dubs was your pet is placed in a room of 100 identical looking pets. Without using your pet's name, how would you find said pet? Good old Nathan Boyd, he says, say squirrel and see which one flips her shit. Former enthusiast guest, Dr. Feelgood. Picture for reference, but I'd find her petting the other, so she gave me this look because I wasn't paying attention to her. It's a good picture.
Well, of course.
V from the Kick Group. She says a room full of pugs. Well, I'd have to look at all their face wrinkles.
I feel like she wouldn't wouldn't necessarily right away try to find hers as much as she would just like roll around with the pugs for a while.
Yeah, well, that brings up the last one from Roberto Rodriguez, which in his comment he shouted out someone named Sandra. I can only assume it's his significant other.
Okay.
But it says, Sandra, I have 100 pets now. Which is pretty good.
That's a strong answer. You can't be wrong if you take them all.
It's true.
I mean, yeah. Right. Over on Twitter, I only see one, and it was from Heno. And oddly enough, it's I just yell squirrel, and Jax would lose his mind.
Well, it's like him and Nate were on the same page.
Hopefully they don't have the same breed of dog, or this could be a problem.
This is very true.
They're both yelling squirrel, two dogs going nuts.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
I think they'd figure it out, though.
Probably.
Or one of them, whoever's stronger just ends up with two dogs.
They'd figure it out with fighting.
Yeah, to the death.
Yes.
Because that's how it's done. Yeah, that looks like all I have on Twitter. If I have someone else's, sorry, I missed it. Fluffy Bunny Ash says she has to answer, using her rabbits because their cat passed away recently.
That's a bummer.
Yeah. She said, with the bunnies are usually pretty timid, so mine will probably be the only ones that follow after me. And she says if she answers for the old kitty, either whistle like a cardinal call and she'd come, or just see which cat would immediately go to my boyfriend. If she saw him, she'd go to him no matter what. No need to call her over.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that works.
That does work.
Mm-hmm. And from Cheeto Bandito, he says I would walk into the room. That's it. My golden retriever would plow through and mow over any other dog in there to get to me.
That's pretty awesome.
Yep. Man, he's just all about just walking into places and getting his way, isn't he?
Apparently.
Jeez.
Streets are lined with golden Cheeto Bandito crumbs. Wherever you walk.
I know, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. I guess I should open up the Google Docs thing so we can come up with a new Q the W, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I'm totally prepared.
I mean, I guess you like Google Docs.
Oh, man. All right, why is this taking so long? All right, 1 through 28.
Oh, geez. Let's go with 5.
5, okay. All right. What do you want your last words to be?
Oh, boy. I knew it, you son of a bitch. That sounds about right.
I was waiting for it to be something like, I always knew it would be Brian. Oh, man. I don't know. Mine would probably just be something silly like, avenge me or something like that. Or it would be, like, didn't have a beer and now I'm here,
Because accurate.
Right. Because if I had a beer,
I
would have been fine. Exactly. So we'll go with that.
Yeah. All right, fair enough.
So there you go. What do you want your last words to be?
Oh, yeah. Also, to all your answers.
Good job.
And to the current answers we're expecting.
Show me what you got.
Well done.
Thanks, mate.
All right. So I guess that's a show, eh?
That is a show.
All right. Well,
although we could start a whole new show.
All right, let's do it. Nah.
Throwback for some people.
Nah, we already buried
There's going to be like 3 people as soon as like, oh my God.
I guess they're a new. Oh. That's what. Should have been real assholes and just put that at the very end of our show. So if anyone does let it play, they might think that their next show would be Graphic Novice.
That would be pretty
Again,
funny.
only funny to like 3 people, but whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. All right, we'll head over to saltylanguage.com where we have all the links to everything having to deal with us. You can get the past episodes, the enthusiasts that we've done, which we still need to do some more. You can see the networks we're part of, like the Tangent Bound Network, and...
I lost it for a second. Jesus.
Danger! Watch your back! Danger!
Entertainment.
I mean, I guess if you like danger.
Oh, man. So go check out those networks, and, there's all sorts of shows over there you may enjoy.
Indeed. Especially Salty Language.
Right. And if you'd like to help the show out, we would appreciate it if you rate, reviewed, and subscribed if you haven't already. Them 5-star ball washes, kids.
5-star ball wash, exactly.
Mm-hmm. If you would like to get something, some drawings from me or Tony, anything over $5 or so on Patreon, we'll get you something. And if you want to do that, the link's on the website, or go to patreon.com/saltylanguage and check that out.
Also, don't be a bitch.
Well, I mean, yeah. Or we'd appreciate it also if you would just, retweet our show links and...
Yeah, tell your friends about us.
Yeah.
Like Batman.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could just tell one friend, but, I mean, a real...
Yeah, dude, just tell them all.
A real fan would tell all their friends.
Yeah, so, like, the other 3 people tell them too.
Exactly. And if you want to contact the show, like if you'd like to submit a Q of the W, or there's something you want us to talk about, you can hit us up. Our email is saltylanguage@gmail.com. On Twitter, we're salty_language. You can find me at Stunami.
You can find me at Monotony, or also salty_language on the old Snapchat.
I'm at Ninjitsu on there.
And, of course, we're on Facebook and Instagram. And, now that Tumblr got rid of their porn, now we're done there.
Yeah.
So
we didn't even talk about that. Yeah. So, really quick, we'll do this, and then then we're out of here. But, so, I saw that thing, and it even, the part that's really irritating people, I mean, aside from, is the part that says females presenting nipples is banned. And...
But I like that.
I know, that's the only reason to go to Tumblr.
I know. Especially the way to use the word present.
But, like, a lot of people pointed out, it's like, why couldn't it just say, nipples or something to that effect, But it says in there that protests, like, nudity related to protesting is okay. So, anyone who wants to post something, post nudity and post in the comment thing that you're doing that in protest of Tumblr's new policy, and see if they'll let it go.
Like, man, protesting Tumblr gets me so hard.
Well, that's the thing.
Everybody.
It blows my mind, because, like, you can have nipples on there if it's in a protest manner, but not if it's in a artistic nude or sexual manner, basically. It's like, they're still the same nipples.
No. One is a revolution nipple.
Oh, okay.
It's one nipple's throwing tear gas and Molotovs. It has like a bandana around its mouth.
Right.
The other nipple is like painting and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, damn it.
Okay. You see
All
the difference?
Now I do.
Painting, violence, and tear gas.
Yeah, well, power to the nipples, I guess.
A woman has one of each nipple.
That's a dangerous woman.
Fucking yin-yang titties.
Oh, my. I really want the show to be named that now, but I'm not. So, yeah, anyway.
Got a couple of yin-yangs on it.
We'll see in a couple weeks after this takes effect if Tumblr does die, because that probably is the number one use for Tumblr.
Yeah, I haven't been to Tumblr in a long time. I used to kind of enjoy it because, like, oh, look, there's all this random shit on these blogs. And then it's just like, oh, hey, here's me plowing my girl. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I
guess.
mean, you said you'd look at my page. I mean, it was just business.
Jeez.
Oh, man. So, yeah. Well, I guess until next time, we're going to go, get all the porn we can from Tumblr in the next 2 weeks. So...
That's why you got that hard drive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 2 terabytes Tumblr.
Yeah, freedom nipples, baby.
Yep, power to the nipples.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess have a beer, you'll be fine.
Oh, man, stay salty, guys.
And, yeah, I guess I'm just going to stay with what you just said, man. It's like, free the nipple.
Oh, I was like, yin titties?
Like, it's so stupid that men can walk around and show off their titties, but women can't. Women's are way better.
I mean, I guess if you like guys' titties, whatever. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Women even agree that women's titties are better.
Oh, for sure.
Gay men find women's titties nice. See what I mean?
Yeah, that's what everyone.
We're censoring the wrong titties.
I checked the Amazon reviews of titties, and the women's ones are off the charts. Man. I'm just saying. So if you're gonna upgrade, you should really.
Yeah. I mean,
hey, Yelp review, right? Yelp review, 5 out of 5. We'll do again.